We know already that after proxying the initial request and final response, SIP's default behavior is to drop midway servers out of the signaling path, subsequent requests being routed direct between user agent client and user agent server. Now, is this always a good thing? Can you think of any occasions when a server might just need to remain in the signaling path? Well, how about billing, for example? How can the server know how much to charge if it never sees the buy? And what about other features, maybe transferring the call or something special the server can do that we can't do for ourselves? If it's not in the signaling path, it can't do any call management beyond the initial call setup. In this lesson, we'll look at how we can set things up for servers to stay in the signaling path. We'll also look further into our old friend, the root set, and how it helps to keep servers in the signaling path. First though, do you remember this golden rule? What is it? Have a think and press play when you've got it. The rule is, if a root header exists, it takes routing priority over the address in the request URI. So, how does that help keep servers in the signaling path? Well, let's find out. Now imagine a call flow where user agent 1 sends an invite to proxy 1 complete with its own address in the via header, so the proxy knows where to send back responses, and its own address in the contact header, so the downstream UAS knows where to send subsequent requests. Nothing new so far. Receiving the request, proxy 2 prepares to send it downstream, including its own address as a via header, but and here's where things start to differ, the proxy might be configured as record route enabled, a way of saying, hey you lot, you guys upstream and you guys downstream, I'm in charge round here and I say you send me subsequent requests, right? And with that adds a new header, not a route header, but a record route header, including in it his own address. Funnily enough, proxy 2 does exactly the same thing. It too, in this scenario, is record route enabled. I'm in charge round here, keep me in the signaling path. And as well as adding its via address, it also adds itself as another record route header before sending the request downstream. If a server wants to remain in the signaling path, it adds a record route header, not a route header, a record route header populated with its own address. Receiving the request and finding record route headers, the downstream user agent takes not just the caller's contact address, but also the whole list of record route addresses and stores them all in its route set. Sending back the 200 OK, the downstream user agent again includes its own address in the contact header, so the upstream user agent client knows where to send subsequent requests, but also the complete list of record route addresses from its route set, again as record route headers. As the response travels back upstream, being routed over each hop to the topmost via address, and as each via header gets stripped out by its owner, note how the record route headers remain intact. They're not stripped out. Now the upstream user agent client populates his route set, again with the downstream user agent's contact address and all of the addresses from the record route list, only having reversed their order. Now, can you see where this is going? When constructing the ACK, it still puts the downstream agent's contact address in the request URI, but more importantly now, it also takes the server addresses from the route set and adds them in, not as record route headers now, but route headers. The good old route headers that we know and love. And the impact? Well, remember the rule. If a route header exists, it takes routing priority over the address in the request URI. Now we have not one, but two route headers, meaning that they take priority over the request URI, and the request is routed not to the callee, but to the topmost route address, proxy 1. Ha! Says proxy 1, almost surprised. You recognize my greatness and did as I instructed. Being invoked and having the request in its hands, it now has the chance to do something special if it wants. Before sending the request downstream, proxy 1 removes its root header from the list, leaving proxy's 2 root header still in place. And again, because 1 exists, the request is sent to the address in the topmost root header, rather than to the request URI. Great, says proxy 2. I'm getting subsequent requests. Now I can do clever things if I like. And with that, it removes its root header and proxies the request downstream. With no more root headers, the request is once more routed to the address in the request URI. From here on, all subsequent requests are processed the same way, routed to the server addresses copied from the root set as root headers. Each server strips its own root header and passes the request upstream, till finally all root headers are gone and the request is routed once more to the request URI. Cool. Now, it's easy to confuse the record root header and the root header. So, another golden rule to help remember. Record root headers are used later, not now, when routing subsequent requests. The root header, on the other hand, is to be used now, right now. If one exists, route the request now to the topmost root header. Okay, in summary, subsequent requests are routed direct between endpoint user agents unless servers add record root addresses to the initial request, proclaiming to other SIP devices the need to keep them in the signaling path. Accordingly, endpoint agents oblige, adding all the record root addresses to their root sets. Then, when routing subsequent requests, user agents copy the server addresses from the root set into the request as root headers and route the request then to the topmost root header, causing it to travel back to the record rooted servers. Each server strips off its own root header before routing to the address in the next topmost root header. Finally, when all root headers are stripped, the request is routed to the address in the request URI, back to the other endpoint user agent. Okay, one more thing real quick. Adding a record root header guarantees the server will remain in the signaling path, right? Wrong. Maybe if endpoint user agents obey the record root rules, but we can't always guarantee it. Endpoint IP phones can't necessarily be trusted. A safer option is for a server to act as a back-to-back user agent, something we'll discuss later.